In the glimmering halls of a mansion worth more than most people see in 10 lifetimes, a millionaire sat alone at a table set for 12. Upstairs, a maid folded a crumpled letter with hands that had scrubbed 1,000 floors. What happened next defied every assumption about power, wealth, and what it really means to change someone's life. Because sometimes the person who transforms everything isn't standing in the spotlight. Sometimes they're the one nobody sees at all. Stay with me. This story will change how you think about the power hidden in small acts. Nora ever arrived in the city on a Tuesday with everything she owned in 2 duffel bags and hope that weighed heavier than both. She came from a place where mountains touched clouds and paychecks barely touched survival, a rural Appalachian town where her father's sudden illness didn't just break hearts. It shattered bank accounts, drained savings, turned a modest life into a desperate one overnight. So Nora did what countless others have done when staying meant drowning. She left, kissed her mama goodbye, promised to send money home, and boarded a Greyhound bound for a city that glittered with possibilities she could barely imagine. The Blaine mansion needed a maid. Nora needed a lifeline. The match was practical, not poetic. Her days became rhythms of silence. Dust of bookshelves no one read. Polish silver no one used. Vacuum rooms that echoed with emptiness louder than her footsteps. She moved through those halls like a ghost, present but unseen, essential but invisible. Have you ever felt that way? Like you're working so hard, giving so much, but to everyone around you, you're just there, part of the scenery? Nora understood that feeling intimately. But here's what made her different. She never let invisibility turn into indifference. While others might have grown bitter or numb, Nora stayed present. She noticed things, the way dust settled on the crown, molding in patterns that told stories of neglect, the untouched meals left cold in the study, the echo of footsteps that lingered too long in empty ballrooms, as if even sound felt lonely in that house. She noticed everything, and more than that, she cared, even when nobody was watching, even when nobody seemed to care back. Especially then, August Blaine's mansion wasn't just a home. It was a monument to success and a mausoleum for joy. Marble floors reflected chandeliers that cost more than cars. Modern art hung on walls, bold slashes of color that meant nothing and cost everything. Every surface gleamed, every corner calculated. The house was perfect in the way museums are perfect, beautiful to look at, cold to live in, and August, he was the king of this empty castle. On paper, he had it all. Millions in the bank, properties across 3 states, a name that opened doors and commanded respect. People gossip about his ruthless business sense, his calculated investments, his ability to turn struggling companies into empires. But nobody talked about the man who ate dinner alone, every single night. Nobody mentioned how his phone calls sounded. Tired monotones delivering fact without feeling, closing deals without connection. How he moved through his own home like a visitor who'd forgotten why he came. August's success had cost him something most people don't notice until it's gone. Everyone. Years ago, pride had built a wall between him and his younger brother. Something about money, about choices, about words thrown like weapons that can never be taken back. The kind of family fracture that starts small and spreads like cracks in ice until one day you're standing on opposite sides of the chasm, and you can't even remember who took the first step away. Nora saw what others missed. She saw a man surrounded by things, but starving for something money couldn't buy. She saw someone who'd forgotten how to be seen, but in a house full of expensive things that meant nothing. The most valuable thing was about to appear, and it would cost absolutely nothing at all. November brought cold that seeped through even mansion walls. Nora was vacuuming the west sitting room, a space August never used but insisted stay pristine, when she spotted it, under the velvet armchair, wedged between the leg and the Persian rug. A piece of paper, crumpled like someone had thrown it away, then maybe tried to retrieve it, then gave up. She almost left it. Almost. Her job was to clean, not to pry. But something made her pause. Maybe the way it was crumpled, not casually discarded but violently rejected. Maybe intuition. Maybe grace. Nora smoothed the paper against a palm. The handwriting was shaky, urgent. August, I know it's been years. I know you have every right to ignore this. But Dad's gone now, and I can't stop thinking about all the time we wasted, all the holidays, all the phone calls we didn't make. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for being stubborn, for being stupid, for not calling sooner. I miss my brother. It's not too late, is it? Please, just coffee. Just once. Marcus. Nora's throat tightened. She knew this pain. Different details. Same shape. The ache of distance. The weight of words unsaid. She could have put it back. Could have pretended she never saw it. Instead, she folded it carefully, walked to August's study, placed it on his desk where he couldn't miss it, and beside it, on a small piece of notepaper, she wrote, "It's never too late." August found the letter at 11 p.m., after a 14-hour day of video conferences and quarterly reports. He almost threw it away again. His hand was halfway to the trash when he saw Nora's note. It's never too late. 5 words. 5 simple, devastating words. He sank into his leather chair, the expensive one that was supposed to support his back, but never quite did, and read his brother's letter. Then read it again. Then a third time, as if the words might change, might become less raw, less real. They didn't. Memories crashed over him like waves. Marcus at 8, following him everywhere, hero worship shining in his eyes. Marcus at 16, angry and defiant when August left for college. Marcus at 25, asking for a loan August refused, not because he couldn't afford it, but because he wanted to teach a lesson about responsibility. That refusal had sparked the argument. The kind of fight where both sides say things they don't mean, and some things they do, where pride becomes cement, hardening around hearts until neither person remembers how to bend. 5 years of silence. 5 years of holidays spent alone. 5 years of looking at his phone and wondering if he should call, then deciding he was too busy, too angry, too something. 5 years of waste. August's hand shook as he picked up his phone. Put it down. Picked it up again. What if Marcus didn't answer? What if he'd changed his mind? What if the door August had slammed shut had locked from the other side? It's never too late. He thought about Nora then, the woman who moved through his house like a whisper, who he'd barely spoken beyond, "Thank you, and that's fine." She had nothing. He knew staff wages, knew what little she must be sending home to her family, yet she'd taken the time to care about a crumpled letter that wasn't her business. She'd seen him, really seen him, seen past the marble floors and the cold paintings to the man eating alone. At 11:47 p.m., August called his brother. Marcus answered on the second ring. The reunion happened at a diner, not a boardroom. Coffee, not champagne. 2 brothers awkward at first, then laughing, then crying, then laughing through tears. Nora knew, because August came home different. Not loud different or showy different. Quiet different. Real different. He started appearing in the kitchen during staff lunch. Something he'd never done. Pulled up a chair. Asked questions. Actually listened to the answers. "Where are you from, Nora?" The question surprised her so much she nearly dropped her sandwich. "West Virginia, sir. Little town called Harlan Creek." "Tell me about it." So she did. Told him about mountains that cradled poverty and pride in equal measure. About neighbors who shared their last dollar and their last cup of sugar. About her father, whose hands had built half the town but couldn't afford the medicine that might have saved him. About leaving, and the guilt that rode shotgun on that Greyhound, and the strength it took to send money home when she barely had enough to eat. August listened like a man hearing music for the first time. He started asking the other staff too. Learned that his gardener was supporting 3 kids on his own, that his cook sent money to her sister's cancer treatment, that his driver was saving for his daughter's college, a dream that would take 20 years at his current pace. These weren't just employees. They were people with stories that mattered, with struggles that deserved recognition, with resilience that put his own to shame. If Nora could leave everything she knew, work jobs that made her invisible, and still show up with kindness for a stranger's crumpled letter, what could he do with the resources he'd been hoarding like a dragon on gold? 6 months later, the Blaine Foundation launched. Education grants for workers' families. Emergency funds for medical crises. Community programs in Appalachian towns where poverty wasn't a character flaw, but a systemic trap. August didn't make speeches about it, didn't post photos for credit. He just did it quietly, steadily, the way Nora had taught him through example. And Nora? She kept dusting, kept cleaning, kept moving through those halls with the same humble grace. This is what real change looks like. Not flashy, not loud, just one person seeing another, and everything shifting because of it. If you want more stories that restore your faith in humanity, hit that subscribe button right now. Here's what most people miss about this story. Nora never asked for recognition, never mentioned the letter or the note. When August tried to thank her, awkwardly, emotionally, standing in the hallway outside his study, she just smiled and said, "I'm glad you called him, sir," then went back to work. The mansion changed, though you could feel it. The marble floors still gleamed, but they reflected warmth now. Laughter from the kitchen, conversations in hallways, the sound of August's brother visiting on weekends, bringing his kids who ran through rooms that had been silent for too long. The house was alive. August's transformation rippled outward in ways he never anticipated. The foundation helped hundreds of families. But more than that, August himself became present, engaged, human. He negotiated with compassion now, remembering that spreadsheets represented real people. He hired with purpose, seeing past resumes to potential. He showed up to staff birthdays, to community meetings, to places his wealth and influence could actually make a difference. All because a maid nobody noticed had cared enough to smooth out a crumpled letter. Think about that. The person with the least gave the most. The person everyone overlooked saw what everyone missed. Nora understood something profound. Invisibility doesn't mean worthlessness. Sometimes the most powerful people in the room are the ones nobody's looking at. She understood that everyone needs to be seen, needs someone to notice their pain, their hope, their humanity. Even millionaires eating alone at tables set for 12. Especially them. Because money can buy everything except the one thing that matters most. Connection. The knowledge that someone cares. That your life touches another life in ways that echo. That you're not alone. So here's what Nora's story teaches us. Small acts of kindness are never small to the person receiving them. That crumpled letter changed August's life. Changed his brother's life. Changed hundreds of lives through the foundation. Changed everything. And it started with 5 words on a piece of notepaper. It's never too late. 5 words that cost nothing. That required no wealth, no power, no platform. Just attention. Just care. Just a decision to see another person's pain and do something, however small, to ease it. You have that power. Right now, today, you have Nora's superpower, the ability to notice, to care, to act with kindness when nobody's watching, when there's no reward, when you could easily look away. Who in your life needs to be seen today? Who's eating alone at a table set for 12? Who's carrying crumpled letters in their pocket, too afraid or too proud to smooth them out? Maybe it's a co-worker everyone ignores, a family member you haven't called, a neighbor who always seems fine but whose smile doesn't reach their eyes. What small act could you do? What 5 words could you write? It's never too late. Nora still works at the Blaine Mansion, still moves through those halls with quiet grace, still dusts the crown molding, still notices everything, still cares deeply. But if you visit now, you'll hear something different. Laughter from downstairs. August and Marcus arguing about football over coffee. Kids playing in rooms that were once silent as tombs. And upstairs, barely visible, Nora smiles. Because she knows the truth. You don't need to be seen to make a difference. You just need to see others. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. Leave a comment about a time when a small kindness changed your life. I read every single one. And subscribe, because every week we uncover stories that remind us what really matters: each other.